Good morning, Matt Waldman. Hi, I'm Bob Harris. I'm just doing that because it irritates Matt. Because
Good morning, Wally.
Who we are.
Wally said good morning, and he told you to shut up before we even turn this thing on.
I always do. Hope everyone's doing well. Week 6 had some big injuries, some other issues, always some interesting developments. We'll sort through some of them and decide whether we feel them or fuck them. And I guess the first thing we're feeling or fucking, I feel like we're feeling it. Drake Maye is taking the next step as quarterback, and I read it wrong because I think he's already taken it. I'm feeling this.
Yeah, I'm feeling this too. I mean, I think he looks good. He's managing the game very well. What the things that I kind of wanted to see from him coming out of school was, will he throw a football away, or will he try and play Superman to the point to the detriment of the team? And he has learned to be more judicious with the football and take care of it, and take care of his field position, more importantly. And he's still making some really nice throws on the move. What he's hitting downfield is looking good. And he's doing a good job under pressure. That Saints game was a fun game to watch.
To that point, he was under pressure on all 3 touchdown passes in the first half. All 3 were deep passes, 20-plus air yards. Thrown to the left side of the field. He was 10 of 16 for 177 yards versus pressure, including 7 of 8 for 144 yards and the 3 touchdowns in the first half alone.
Yeah, he's not, it's interesting. I don't find him to be super accurate on the level of, say, like a Joe Burrow type of accurate type of thing. I mean, like, I'm not talking about completion percentage. I'm talking about like placement. But it's a smaller thing. Like, I mean, I think that when it comes down to maybe late in games, those 1 to 3 plays that are going to make the difference between a major win and a major loss, I think that he's doing a good job. But I think that that's the area where he's going to continue to try and strive to improve his game. And I think that will probably be the difference between the Patriots being, a playoff team or and deep into the playoffs type of team.
Yeah, a little bonus. He led the team in rushing, which is not a bonus for the Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson investors. Sorry for your losses, people. But Drake Maye is getting the job done. And like every week that I decide not to talk about Kayshon Boutte is a big week for Kayshon Boutte. Welcome back. Are we feeling or fucking Kayshon Boutte?
I'm feeling it, even though I dropped his ass like a week ago. Right? Feeling like I needed to make other moves, only to watch him score twice in this game, and then also have the game-sealing catch on a tough play, a back shoulder play, where Maye went to him. It was funny because I watched him against the Bills last week, and Drake Maye completely missed him on a read on a huge play where he climbed the pocket and looked like he was looking right at Boutte, who literally was working free up the left boundary against the Bills, and this would have been a huge play, maybe even a touchdown, and he just didn't see him. And that happens, it happens to the best of quarterbacks. But I kind of watched that and kind of rued the day a little bit as a Kayshon Boutte devotee. But watching how often Boutte made big plays and how physical he is compared to the other Patriots receivers, and this is what Tom Curran talked about earlier. Yes. So maybe Tom isn't completely wrong here, and maybe Maye's coming around to the idea that we need to feature, get the ball to Boutte, and we need to trust him a little bit more, and like he did in camp. So he's a provisional ad if you've got the room, that's for sure.
Yeah. Eyeball test wise, he looks alpha when he's making plays and when they give him the football. And I think, man, why does this guy not have the football more? Playing at home, by the way, in front of 40 friends and family, a little extra motivation for him.
He's like
so good.
He's like Eddie Van Halen asked to play a ukulele. I mean, I don't understand why they put him at X when he should be like the big slot flanker, but I know that's all they got in New England. But it's literally, they're like, we know you're a great drummer. We know you're a great, it's like that. It's like, we know you're Neil Peart, but can you play the triangle for us? That's kind of what it feels like's going on there. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to play the fuck out of it, but and we got Christopher. I'm Christopher Walken. He needs more cowbell. I think that's kind of what's going on here.
Fair enough. Rico Dowdle. Is he good, or defenses he faced bad? Let me answer my own question. Yes.
Yes, I agree. Completely. Both. Yes, he's both. I mean, look, I've been a long time. You can Google me on the on their AI, and they'll say Matt Waldman is a long time. I saw this yesterday because I was looking for something that I had written about Dowdle years ago, and it said Matt Waldman is a longtime proponent of Rico Dowdle. Yes, it only took 5 years, but I think the thing is that he runs with great burst. He has excellent balance. He's a creative runner. He can catch the football. He runs with power and contact balance, as I mentioned, and he's also a player that I think Greg Olsen made a good point in the broadcast yesterday, which is, some running backs actually get better as the game goes along. They get stronger as the game goes along. And you won't know that if you put guys in a committee. And he said that's the downfall of the NFL by committee type of running back situation, is they never really find out who's the guy you want to late in the game, who's going to wear you down, and you need to give him more touches. And I don't know if I fully agree with Olsen that Dowdle is that guy, because Dowdle,
he's playing like that guy.
He's getting a lot of touches, that's for sure. And it's early in the game, but by halftime he's already got a game's worth of touches.
Right.
So it's not like it's late in the game thing. By then he's got cramps anyway, and they're putting the guns to his
Give him the
calves.
pickle juice.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember at South Carolina, he couldn't stay healthy enough to earn enough touches late in games frequently enough to feel that way. But I do like the point overall. He is good. The Cowboys, though, are not an example of a good defense, and we know the Dolphins aren't. So, I mean, it's just both things are true. Yeah.
Right. So he told the Cowboys, did Rico Dowdle, to buckle up. Apparently they did not. 239 yards from scrimmage are the most by a player in a game versus their former team in NFL history. Happy Vengeance Day to you, young man.
Can you imagine? I mean, I know Javonte Williams is playing well and good for him.
Yes.
But they could have kept Dowdle.
Right.
And probably spent less money.
I don't know. Williams was pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But Miles Sanders, they gave up, the Panthers. Yes. This is like the Panthers keep trolling the Cowboys in situations. They give up Miles Sanders, the Cowboys get him, but the Cowboys give up Rico Dowdle. Who wins the better end of that exchange? Kind of now they're going to be, next thing you know, they're going to ship off Xavier Legette, and the Cowboys will willingly take him too.
He'll pair well with Jonathan Mingo for sure.
Yep, for sure.
For sure. All right, so we'll go from running back 1 on Sunday overall to running back 6 overall, and ask the same question: Kamani Vidal, is he good, or Miami just bad?
Miami's pretty damn bad, but Kamani Vidal is better than what the labels were for him. What happened is that last year there was a contingent of fantasy analysts, one of them being myself. I think J.J. Zachariason and I liked him too. He liked him as well, who liked Kamani Vidal, thought that he was a sleeper, thought he could wind up, taking over if J.K. Dobbins got hurt. He has really strong burst. He is good contact balance for his size, decent vision. He reminded me of DeAndre Swift with better decision-making skills and a little bit more burst than just long speed. Because Swift is one of those guys that he has long speed, but his burst doesn't quite match it, so he doesn't always get into that third level to be able to exploit what he does best. So I think that we saw on display what Vidal does well, and the Chargers, we have to remember that while their line's banged up, their pair of guards and center is, that trio is intact and playing pretty well. And when they ran gap plays where they could stick inside, or they could get some of those guys on the outside, they did well with Vidal. When they ran zone, it wasn't quite as good for them, but they run mostly gap anyway. So I think that what happened is because J.K. Dobbins stayed healthy, and then when he got hurt, Vidal was a rookie and didn't get a lot of touches. He was sporadically up and down, and they decided to go in a different direction with the Najee Harris, Omarion Hampton situation. And then Vidal was supposedly in camp, not all that great, or depended on the report. Some reports said he looked good, some reports said he didn't, and some reports said Raheem Sanders was the guy they wanted to keep, who ended up in Cleveland. Well, I can see why they want to keep Raheem Sanders, because he's just like the backs that Jim Harbaugh remembers and Bo Schembechler remembers and
So
Woody
Hassan
Hayes
Haskins.
remembers. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And
So it's Hassan Haskins. What happened to that guy?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's like Jim Harbaugh's taste in running backs. I mean, it's like it's as outmoded as his taste that chicken is a nervous bird. So
they are.
So
because they're tasty and we like to eat them, they should be nervous.
Yeah, maybe they should be nervous, but I mean, he said not to eat them because they were a nervous bird.
I know.
He's a weird his tune.
He's a weird motherfucker. Right?
He is, and I think he needs to take a page out of the Kyle Shanahan book and go, we don't know what we really have in a running back until we see them in live game action, and I didn't think he saw enough of them. So I'm more of a Kamani Vidal defender, but I don't think he's as good as the numbers state this week.
And the numbers were, by the way, 18 carries, 124 yards, almost 7 yards a carry. He also caught some balls, 3 for 14, caught his touchdown pass, which kind of put him a little more satisfying fantasy finish. So this is one that irritates me because my instincts were to go with Vidal, and I ranked him higher until the Sunday Morning Splash report by Mike Garofalo saying, Hassan Haskins is going to get the lead role and handle the bulk of the workload, right? And so I said, well, it was close enough, right? I mean, it wasn't like I was way over the top on Vidal, but I did have Vidal ahead, just thinking he's a better receiving asset, right? And that just gives him, in a case where I'm uncertain. I keep going back to heading into the rookie season, talking to Joe Reedy from the Associated Press, and I'm hearing people like you and JJ saying all these glowing things about him. So I was eager to get a take from the guy on the ground, and his answer was always just like sticks in my head. If you're not familiar with Joe Reedy, Associated Press guy, covered many teams, but ended with the Chargers. I think he's now on to college football or something. But it was like, hey, what about Kamani Vidal? We're all very excited about it. Oh, yeah, he'll be a great special teams player. And I went, okay. And so I've kind of been off him since then because that turned out to be fairly true. But I thought in this case, I had a little like this is my reminder. Fuck the news, feel my hunches when I have them on occasion, right? Like we know those splash reports, by the way. I mean, people are being told things and that's all well and good, but they are not be all end all, it turns out. Even like the, Adam Schefter sudden, hey, Bam Knight's going to be the starter. I don't know that he was the starter. I haven't looked at the first play. It might have been Carter on the field first. Bam Knight ended up getting most of the work, but it was a pretty even split. Yeah. So be careful on Sunday morning, kids. People are looking for attention more than they're looking to tell you good information.
May your children get jobs where their first assignment is something as easy as the Miami Dolphins defense. Because that is, I mean, I'm telling you, I think Hassan Haskins could have gained half of Kamani Vidal's yardage on 1 foot running through some of those creases.
Probably so. Those opportunities matter. Rachaad White get a lot of opportunities. Is he better than the fantasy people think?
Oh, yeah, because as the fantasy people, they really loved him and wanted him in when Leonard Fournette was still running the ball there and getting Bo Schembechler type of yardage and Woody Hayes type of yardage at the end of his career. And they saw moments where White was doing well, but they didn't understand that conceptually that offense was probably, very tight crease offense and kind of difficult to gain yardage at the level that you would like to expect. Rachaad White got better and better and better, but the expectations for him were so high early that people were disappointed and they just wrote his ass off. And I think that that's what's going on. Even last week, I was watching the game and saw that against the Rams, and the production didn't look great in the box score, but the effort in terms of what he had to do to get the yardage he earned, it was skilled, it was physical, it was quick enough. And I remember somebody I talked to on occasion during the week was, saying to me, yeah, he's no good. And I said, no, I beg to differ. Like, you've got to go back and watch him. And I think a lot of it is based on priors. And he's that back who's kind of been victimized by his priors. If I were an NFL team looking for a starter or a co-starter next year, Rachaad White, I think, would be an upgrade to some running back situations.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the guy who was running back 4 overall 2 years ago, and the success came from high volume, right? And like he just averaged 3.6 yards per carry that year, but he had 272 chances. Volume matters, and in this case, 17 carries. I think he had 3.8 yards a carry in this game.
The fact he can even handle it is
right.
and
he handles it well. But also, like some of the complaints, I think why Bucky Irving is there is because the complaint was he didn't hit the hole. Rachaad White didn't hit the hole. Well, I saw in this game sometimes when, I thought he was just being patient, and hitting the hole might not have served him well. Being patient served him better. So we'll see. Clearly the lead back here, I think he's probably better than he's given credit for, but I don't know that he's good enough to keep the job when Bucky Irving's back. So from a fantasy perspective, fuck him. How about that? No,
feel him for now.
Feel him for now. Fuck him later. Lad McConkey is back. Feel it or fuck it.
Fuck it. No, he's not back. He's always been here. The problem is that Quinton Johnston has been there too. Now he wasn't there, and they had to go to him more often. I think McConkey will continue to get his, but if you're expecting a return to what he did last year, it's only temporary until everybody's healthy.
Yes, and he still looks like a very young man. Xavier Legette is a bust. Feel it or fuck it.
Yeah, I'm feeling that. I think that every once in a blue moon he makes a nice play, and he's certainly a good athlete. But I think that as a football player, he's a little too slow to process things at this stage of the game, and I don't think he always makes great decisions. There's just too many loose threads with his game, and defenders can pull on any one of them that are dangling around as he's running around on the field, and his game falls apart. And I think that he's got to tighten that up. And I'm skeptical. I need to see proof that he's going to tighten up his game.
3 catches, 71 yards for Demario Douglas, the real slot receiver in New England. Is he emerging as a legitimate play?
No, fuck it. I don't think he is. But he would have had an even better day if there wasn't an inexplicable interference call on Stephon Diggs, and it wasn't. Yeah. Diggs didn't do anything. Kool-Aid McKinstry, I don't know. He maybe had the refs drinking Kool-Aid on that, because that looked more like it was McKinstry that was the issue and not Diggs. If that was the case, it would have been like another 50-yard touchdown for Demario Douglas. Now there is hope. What I would say, it's more of a wait and see answer, because they did use Douglas and Boutte in different ways against their tendencies, and if Josh McDaniels continues to do that, we might see some good weeks out of Douglas that work out. So I would say he's still a guy to monitor if you are in a real deep league and you want a speculative ad. You could do that, but I think that his upside is capped compared to Diggs and Boutte.
Yeah. This was a big day for Drake Maye. He only had 26 attempts. Boutte had 5 targets, Douglas 4. Everyone else had 3, including Stephon Diggs. That's not going to be the case every week. Stephon Diggs and Hunter Henry, both with 3. Those guys are going to get more targets on the vast majority of occasions. So I'm kind of with you. Emergency bye week fill-in. Feel that. Consistent play. Fuck no. Spencer Rattler has promise. Feel it or fuck it.
As a journeyman backup, yes. I'm feeling that, which and maybe, just maybe, he might exceed those expectations. I really like the way he climbs in the pocket. He was finding answers to to blitzes, and there were a couple. He was like inches away from 2 big plays to Chris Olave that would have maybe won this game. And they were tough throws, and they were almost there, or So I was pleased with what I saw from Spencer Rattler. I felt like he was not really the reason they lost this game.
20 of 26 for 227 yards. He also ran for 20 yards. He feels like he is just doing everything he can to keep Tyler Shough off the field, or Tyler Shough is just truly horrible and will never see the field. That it was just a total biff by the Saints in investing that kind of draft capital in Shough.
Yes.
Feel that, do you, sir?
I'm feeling that Tyler Shough is like the Davis Webb of picks this week.
I talked to Matthew Paris from the New Orleans Times Picayune yesterday, and my question was, Spencer Rattler project, week 6, how's it going? And he just said, well, not as bad as we all thought. So I think that's where pretty much everyone's at. Like this, this could be worse. We could be having to watch Tyler Shough. So,
Spencer Rattler is like a souped up Kellen Moore, and Kellen Moore probably identifies with him.
Maybe so. That's a fair point. I feel that. Spencer, Matthew Golden, is he ready for more? Feel it or fuck it?
I almost feel it. The vertical route that he had in this game was a thing of beauty. Really nice pacing immediately to set up the separation, and then he did a great job tracking the football. And then there was an over route where he did a great job against safety on the break side of his route, who got depth, and he ran into the feet of the safety to keep him at an angle where he could make then a late adjustment back to the ball, and got wide open as a result of that. Those were savvy plays. And then when you use him as an extension of the run game on little orbit passes and fly sweeps, he does reasonably well there. The problem is I'm not sure. I feel like that there are some things with routes right now that aren't, he's running a lot of routes that are just kind of vertical or just bend around and not like hard breaking routes. And I see some of the breaks that he's had across the field where he's had the defender cut him off, where he's drifting a little bit on some plays. I think he's almost there, but because of the way the offense is working, even if he gets there, Romeo Doubs is probably having his best season as a pro, and he's such a good route runner and catching the ball well that I think Golden is going to remain basically a kind of a utility player, supplemental guy who you're just hoping for a big play or two to get him in range of fantasy value.
Will Christian Watson be more than that when he returns?
I don't know if he's going to be on the field enough to even say anything. No, I think this is Doubs' year, and I don't think that's going to change unless we hear something from beat reporters, and they're accurate, and they say, yeah, he looks like what people were saying about Stephon Diggs in his rehab.
Justin Fields completed 9 of 17 passes in jolly old England. 45 yards he gained. He lost 55 on 9 sacks. That was a franchise low -10 net passing yards. The worst by any team in nearly 3 decades. Matt, is it same old Justin Fields? Feel it or fuck it?
Oh, totally feeling that. He's a slow processor. He does not read the field unbelievably well. He can read one read and then get to his tight end. He didn't get to his tight end this week at all. He was getting well covered by the Broncos. But he holds on to the ball too long, and as a result of that, sometimes he doesn't manage the game well. He does what I was worried Drake Maye did too often at North Carolina, but was able to address. And I think that for Fields, he is what we see, and that means that he's reasonably he can give you garbage time yardage. He's sacked, and he's sacked and give you garbage time yardage, and at the end of the game, he might compile enough to be valuable.
I thought it was, interesting last week that all, that all the production against Dallas came in the garbage time and all throwing. It wasn't really the running. In this game, there was not a lot of running room against the Denver Broncos, and you shouldn't expected there to be much room. But yeah, it was not fun to watch. I mean, it was just like, yeah, it was ugly to watch. And of course, Aaron Glenn defending him after the game, asking if it was time to make a change. And, you don't bench a guy for a bad game. That wasn't just a bad game. That was like a historically bad game. I think you at least think about it, and maybe he will.
It felt like what I saw from Fields against the Dallas Cowboys before he got benched, and then another team or two before he got benched when he was in Pittsburgh, and it's just Pittsburgh was a better team.
Tucker Kraft getting special treatment. Feel it or fuck it.
Oh, yeah. It's the kind of treatment that I would say that's one that if you want your kids to have a job like Tucker Kraft's, where basically the team sets him up for success. Because, dude, it's great.
But is it part of that because he's Tucker Kraft or because of what he does well? I mean, you want the ball in his hands.
Well, of course you do. Yes. Okay. And it's not that he's bad. I don't mean it that he's bad. He's, he made a nice catch on a seam route where he had to dive low and catch it. He did a good job there. He finished a touchdown on the play where he just ran through a guy at the end with a lot of runway of momentum. So they know what they need to do with him, which is get him into open space, give him the ball in open space, and they just do that really well. The touchdown was a play where they insert block. They do a lot of these insert blocks where you motion towards a gap at the line with a receiver, and that forces the cornerback to slide inside and keeps the space wide open. And they do that on a lot of run plays, and they did it with Savion Williams on play action, and then Tucker Kraft just delay releases off the block and is wide open. And like him and Tyler Warren are getting that kind of treatment, and it works, and they're getting an open space and getting the ball. All I'm saying is that as route runners, like and this is, it doesn't matter in fantasy. This is all you want. You want this all day long. It's great. But it's just that you don't want your fantasy analyst saying to you, Tucker Kraft is one of, NFL wise. Let me put on my NFL hat as a fantasy guy. I don't tell you that Tucker Kraft is on the same pay, on the same level as George Kittle, and then I would say, yeah, bullshit.
So it's interesting because like I've always just viewed the Packers receiving core as a whack-a-mole. Like one week you get one thing, next week you get the next week. Kraft has become consistent. Romeo Doubs, you mentioned having maybe his year. Are those guys, are Tucker Kraft and Romeo Doubs in a position where you could play them every week? Feel it or fuck it?
I'm beginning to say feel it. I wish, Romeo Doubs this year, I thought he was good. We all thought he was going to get traded. That's what they were saying, is that he was a trade candidate. And I was thinking, they must feel like he is what he is, and that's all that's happened. Suddenly now, he's their best wide receiver. I really think he is.
Most consistent for sure.
He is. I mean, he's always been, for me, the problem was he was always a great route runner, but then at the catch point, you didn't know what was going to happen. And now it feels like that he's getting more consistent with how he attacks the football, and he's earning good position and early enough position to win it. And once that happens, now you got a complete receiver. So this guy, I mean, I don't want to go too far here, but I will say that if this continues, we might slowly see an emergence with him as being one of the better wide receivers in football.
And we may have to include Josh Jacobs. It's discussed in his receiving assets. He also had 5 catches yesterday for 57 yards. Doubs 5 catches, 55. But Dobbs is the guy. I mean, I think of the receivers, even if Matthew Golden led the way. Dobbs is the guy who I'm starting to feel like gives consistent production. I guess I'm just hoping that, adding another piece doesn't throw it back into throw the karmic balance out of whack there, and we get back to this week one guy, next week the other guy. I think Kraft will hold on to it.
Listen, Josh Jacobs, by the way, I mean, Alabama leveraged him as a receiver better than any NFL team has until the Packers.
Right.
I mean, I didn't understand what the fuck the Raiders were doing with him as a receiver. And then when you watch him on the ground right now, it's like it's not like he's an old dude. He's just been playing in the league since he was 20.
Right.
But he is looking really springy this year. Like just alive. He looks fantastic.
He looks very happy. When you listen to interviews too, he sounds very happy. Speaking of springy, he is no Kam Scaboo. Kam Scaboo, a league winner. Feel it or fuck it.
I'm gonna say fuck it, but he's so much fun. He's so much fun to watch until he pass protects, and then I'm worried about him. This whole headbutting thing into the wall and everything that everybody's making out of it. Don't encourage the dude. Please don't encourage the dude.
I did that as a kid, and look what it did for me.
Yeah, let's let him play a while. We want this guy to play a while. He is a smart runner, and if he can become as smart of a pass protector, then I think yes, this guy is going to be something. He already is something. I mean, he's a good running back too, who's going to give you some high-end running back 1 weeks because of the touchdown component. It's just a matter of whether Jaxson Dart can continue to keep this offense competitive in the way that he has thus far.
All right, well, then that brings up the next. Feel it or fuck it. Jaxson Dart is good.
He's good in the short. I think he's good in this offense, but I'm not quite all the way there yet, only because we tend to get over our skis about rookie quarterbacks in the first 5 to 6 weeks. I think that's always the case, and then teams figure out some things that they can throw at him. And what I think the Eagles couldn't throw at him last week but tried was they wanted to get edge pressure and they wanted to get high in the pocket and then force him to climb and throw. But their best defensive lineman was not available, or edge runner defender was not quite there. They couldn't do enough things to really keep that pocket contained, and he was able to break out the middle of the pocket and run. Now, Dart is a good scrambler in his own, on his own anyway, and he did a great job there. He also did a pretty good job of, finding receivers, after breaking the pocket. But there were plays where he could have stepped up in the pocket and gotten the same results, if not better, in that game. And there was, I think his tendency is to run first and then look downfield, and he's not efficient yet. And I think that the best quarterbacks can both run like he does and efficiently take a step or two up in the pocket, find the easy solution. If he wants to be, to me, he's a slightly better runner than Baker Mayfield. And if he wants to be Baker Mayfield, he needs to learn a lesson Baker Mayfield did, which is climb the pocket. Don't try and flush outside of it. His deep accuracy or accuracy beyond 25 yards still isn't great. I'm still not seeing enough throws. Most of the throws that look good downfield are just under 25 yards.
He brings certainly a different energy. It seems to me like if you were the Giants and you saw him and we saw him do it in the exhibition season. Like, I know you don't want to rush these guys into the fray, but I mean, like, you compare the energy he brings to this team compared to what Russell Wilson brought to this team. I think at some point you've got to consider maybe we just say the last two teams that tried the Russell Wilson experiment should have realized as well that it was not going to work out. But either way, I think that just the energy he brings to the offense is great. We'll see if he holds up. I
agree.
He's a solid fantasy play because he's going to run the ball a lot, and he's got some floor there. And if they don't turn the ball over 5 times against the Saints, we have probably 3 quarterback one or their near finishes for a guy that has no business finishing as a quarterback one.
Yeah, I think he can become a good starting quarterback. I think he's getting good starting quarterback results right now. But so did Drew Lock early on. So did Baker Mayfield early on. So did Mitchell Trubisky at certain points of his career. So I just want to be careful about that. But I will say that you're right. The energy's good. I think that Russell Wilson's, whether it's his fault or a combination of his fault and that the way the Seattle Seahawks Legion of Boom behaved like gossiping girls.
I would blame Sierra if I knew anything at all about her.
I don't know. I mean, the Legion of Boom was so great, but such a dysfunctional kind of group. It seems the way they talked about the way Russ must have done some really awful shit, or Richard Sherman is kind of just a whiner, and
there's some
they
behind the
all
scenes stories that don't paint Russ in a fantastic light. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But I just think the energy on the field is to me, he just has Jaxson Dart and Kam Scaboo, for that matter, bring a energy level offense that was much needed.
Shake and bake.
And if for no other reason than to keep Brian Daboll from turning purple during games.
Yes, for sure. And I think that he matches what Daboll does very well anyhow. And so you can scheme a lot with him in ways that I think work out well, and they're competitive. And so that's all that matters right now.
All right, last one. Quinshon Judkins is not a running back one this year. Feel it or fuck it. He wasn't yesterday.
Yeah, I feel it. I've been feeling that all along, and I as much as I love Quinshon Judkins, and he will be a running back one someday if the Cleveland Browns can get their shit together. Trading away their best quarterback probably was not the way to do that. But the Steelers did a great job of what happens when you have a rookie quarterback. They confused the rookie quarterback a little bit with different blitz looks. They were able to force situations where the run was more predictable, and also they were able to defend the run with really good gap, gap discipline, and being able to get pushes and redirect Quinshon Judkins into places he didn't really want to go, and really had no choice but to go to. So Judkins is a very good runner. He is a RB1 caliber talent. He's not on an RB1 caliber team to match that right now.
I feel that, and I'm sad about it because I love the volume, love what he's doing with it. Would like to see it be a more consistent weekly thing. Would have definitely liked to see it this week when he was in my in and out column at Football Guys, and he was not. All right, I'll be okay. All right, now
why are you starting a Browns player against the Steelers team?
Volume.
Okay.
The volume has been great. It's been 70 carries a game. He's been doing good things with it. He had a 50-plus yard touchdown callback. Come on, man. Cut me some slack. I'm trying to beat the projections, and it's not easy. So that's it. That's it, man. Our projections team is very good at footballguys.com. You'll find Matt and I. I'm not going to reintroduce us, but I'm Bob. He's Matt. Hi. We love you. We appreciate you. And we hope you come back every week to get felt or fucked right here on this very podcast. Matt, love you. Goodbye.
Love you. Bye.